Everybody, it's Emily from ARG Schooling, and today I'm going to do a video that's sort of a book tour. I'm going to give you a tour of our homeschool library. So this isn't going to be like a definitive every book tour, because that would take me forever and it would turn into a really long video, and I don't have time for that today. But I did want to give you kind of an overview of how I organize our school books, which is an imperfect system. I've been doing this for like 13 years and I'm still I will eventually come up with a really great system for organizing our school books, but that has not happened yet. But it's gonna someday. It will. But this, for now, is how I do it. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I'm going to try to be as careful as I can about the shaky camera. I know I've done this video like 6 times and I'm like, no, it looks Blair Witch. But yeah, so let's get started here. So I have these bookshelves. If I step back, you can kind of see. I've sat in front of them before for videos. It's just 2 shelves pushed together. And these over here are where I keep world history books. So these 2 shelves are all world history. And you can see I'm getting squunched. I need to add a 3rd shelf here, but I don't have the space yet. So this I try to organize by time period. So like on the very far end here, I've got like books that span the time periods. And then as we go along, it goes from prehistory to ancient Egypt and Greece and Rome, all the way through the Middle Ages. And down here it goes from the Middle Ages to the Renaissance to early modern history and World War II and modern. So those are, and yes, they are dusty. I apologize. I've been busy. Okay, the bottom shelf down here is sort of a, it was originally the art shelf where I kept all the art books, but then poetry made its way down here. And then I have dictionaries. So this is sort of like the catch-all art and poetry and reference shelf. And Harry Potter, because I've got a giant Harry Potter book that just didn't fit anywhere else, so I ended up down here. And then on this side, on this bookcase, I have science. And originally this was organized by like biology and chemistry and all of that, and then it just sort of turned into a catch-all. So it's not really very organized at the moment, and it's just all of our science reference-y type books, nonfiction, and so forth. And you can see this is why I'm not doing an individual book tour, because that would be ridiculous. I have easily like hundreds of books down here. And then the bottom shelf is picture books. And I also have more picture books upstairs in the girls' room. Though this is like half of the picture books, I guess I would say, and the other half is probably upstairs. And also over here I have our gigantic atlas that I like to use mostly with my youngest, although my older kids get a lot out of it too. They like to look at it. And it's just a giant atlas my mother-in-law gave me. I think she picked it up at a Goodwill, maybe, or some thrift store. And I also, under this chair here, so it's out of the way, this is also where I keep our library books. I have a basket here, and this has library books in it, and apparently a kaleidoscope that my youngest threw in there. Okay, so that's this side of the room. Then on this side of the room, we have the shelves up here on the wall. And down here, this is my working pile for grade 9. Or piles, I should say, since there's 4. And then this bookshelf here, this is mostly reference. These are like the big heavy books generally, because this is a pretty sturdy shelf down here. So I have a lot of reference books and whatnot on this shelf. Textbooks, and over here I have some mythology books. Over here, these 2 shelves comprise our geography shelves. And I have books that are atlases and specific to like nonfiction about different countries. And I also have historical fiction and just books about living in different cultures. Those are geography. This shelf here is my American history bookshelf. And this I organized very similarly to, let me move this camera out of the way, very similarly to how I organized my world history, in that it starts with Native Americans and like pre-colonization, and then it works through from like explorers coming to America and all the way through Revolutionary War and Lewis and Clark and Civil War and all the way through modern. And then this shelf up here and the next one, this is the 8th grade bookshelf that we're working through now. This is what we're studying right now. And so I have these books out so that we will be reading them currently. And you can see we are studying the history of science using the Story of Science book series by Joy Hakim, which are awesome. And so yeah, we're reading a lot of that, and science fiction and that kind of stuff. It's awesome. You can learn more about that at my website at buildyourlibrary.com, and I will link that down below if you want to know more about what we're studying right now. And then the rest of that shelf up there is just books that I don't have anywhere else to put. Some of them are read-alouds that we've done already or that I am wanting to read at some point to the kids. And then I also have a lot of Shakespeare on the end there. So that is my books on that side of the room. And then I do have one more bookshelf in here, and it's this one over here. And this is like our school shelves. I have like a lot of school supplies and binders and stuff. This shelf right here is what I'm studying with my youngest right now. We're doing ancient history using Story of the World. And those are the books we're reading. And I also have some other stuff, like obviously this is not for my first grader. I just have that there because we've been kind of dabbling in some critical thinking and logic this year with my other kids, and that is close to grabbing it when we are eating meals. And also on this shelf I have some books here. These, Phantom Tollbooth and The Sea of Trolls, are the books we're going to be reading for the book club I run for the tweens. And I have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire down here because I keep saying I'm going to read it for the, I've read it obviously, but I'm going to reread it for writing my next Harry Potter unit. And I've got my Lord of the Rings books because I'm currently doing literature studies on those for grade 9. And you can see I've got the Two Towers there with my notes. And then this middle shelf has binders, and it also has some of the workbooks I'm using and books that I'm using with my first grader. We're doing Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons, Explode the Code, Book 1, and Mathematical Reasoning. That's what she's doing for school. And then down here, I have some art stuff that didn't fit on the other shelf. And these over here are just some books that I have out that we are either using or have used or I'm planning on using. And mostly language arts type stuff. Okay, so that was a tour of our homeschool library, if you will. It's imperfect. I would like to organize it a little bit better, but you know, it works for me. I know where things are. I can usually find books pretty quickly unless someone's taken something and wandered away with it, which happens all the time. But anyway, that is how I organize our homeschool books and educational books and whatnot. Do you have a better system? Please tell me about it. I'd love to hear. I have this like desperate urge to reorganize my books right now, but I just don't really have time to pull everything down and do so. But that is going to happen in the near future. And when I do reorganize, I will be happy to let you guys see how it turns out. So that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Happy reading.